in today's video. 6 charts that you need to see if you are a cryptocurrency investor. We're looking at the bearish side of the markets today, looking at some charts that paint a pretty rough picture for the cryptocurrency markets right now. And okay, look, there's only 5 charts. One of them's technically a graph, but we're calling it 6 charts for the purpose of this video. My name is Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. If you like that topic, like stay up to date on what's happening in the crypto space, then a quick tap on the thumbs up button to let me and the YouTube algorithm know that you do appreciate this kind of content. It'll be super freaking awesome. Now let's go ahead and hop into this topic. And man, oh man, don't you guys miss the up-only times? Those were good times. The money was easy. Everybody was having a good time. Everyone is, of course, very much more pessimistic in the markets. Maybe we can go back to up sometimes. That would be pretty cool. But right now we seem to be in a rough patch for the market. But if you need something to do with your crypto while we're going through this rough patch in the market, you can park it, of course, over on Celsius. Earn 6.2% on your Bitcoin, 5.35% on your Ethereum. Great rates on stable coins, great rates on a wide range of altcoins as well. Use the link down below and you'll get $50 of free Bitcoin when starting your account, which is obviously pretty awesome. Now let's start off by taking a quick look at the S&P 500. You might be thinking, well, Lark, why are we taking a look at the stock market indexes if we're talking about crypto in today's video? Well, because as we have seen very much recently, when the stock markets start taking a big fat dump, well, crypto tends to follow right along with it. Right now, we are seeing the S&P 500 big fat red candle on the weekly coming back down to retest the yearly open as support. Obviously, we'd hope to see a bounce there, and we may see a bounce there. But if we cut through this, that would not be a good thing. That means we'd take out the yearly low. That means we would blast past this previous area of support here, which of course was once resistance, flipped into support. That could bring us all the way back down to here as our next key area of price support for the S&P 500 index. If the S&P 500 is going down, crypto is probably going to go right along with it, unfortunately. And all the macro fears that are going on right now, oh, I'm scared of the Fed, ooh, you know, what's going on in Europe, all this scary stuff, it has been spooking the equity markets quite a bit. And when the equity market sneezes, crypto catches a cold. Now let's take a look at some crypto-specific charts, and obviously we're going to be looking at Bitcoin here because that's the big daddy of the cryptocurrency market. What Bitcoin does or doesn't do has a knock-on effect for all of the altcoins. Correlations all over the place. So what we have seen here is the 50-week moving average, by the way. So we've seen the 50-week moving average obviously being lost earlier this year. Now, we did have a rally at the start of February, but we did not get back up above this line during that rally. In fact, you can see strong sell pressure stepping in as people sold the rally heavily, which is obviously a scenario we talked about happening back around here in late January. We talked, well, watch out for people to sell the rally heavily, which is exactly what ended up happening. Now the price, of course, coming back down. Now you can see the 50-week moving average is something that we haven't lost in such a serious way in a very, very long time. In fact, even back in 2021, we had that massive event in the market. We never really lost the 50-week moving average. Sure, we wicked under it a few times, but we didn't lose it like this. That's a serious loss in momentum that we are seeing right now for the cryptocurrency markets. Obviously, we really want to see the price rallying and closing back above that, but that means we need to get back above $45,000 in order to do that, which the current market sentiment, it's a tough order, basically. Next, let's take a look here at the monthly MACD, currently flipped over into the red, as you can see right here next to my head. Pretty big crossover has happened here on the MACD. Now, this has often been associated with the beginning of a much bigger sell-off event. Now, the big question that we, of course, have to grapple with here is this the start of a new mega bear cycle, or is this more of an anomaly event like we saw with the COVID sell-off? Now, just for reference, in previous situations of a monthly MACD red histogram candle here, we saw from the start to the bottom before, of course, it starts reversing up. 65% drop in price. That was back in 2014 when our candle first flipped red on the MACD. Back in 2018, the MACD flipped red mid-year around July or something like that. We then saw a further 60%, let's just call that 60% sell-off for Bitcoin by the end of the year before, of course, the MACD started to reverse back up. During the COVID crash, that single monthly candle right there, 58% drop. Now this is our second red monthly candle that you can see here for the MACD. So the question is this all just because of the Fed and what's happening in Ukraine, all these fears going on, or is this the start of something much more serious at a market level event that's going to see us coming down much more in price over the coming weeks and months? Next, let's have a look at this here. This is the monthly RSI, Relative Strength Index for Bitcoin. It's only really been lower 3 times. Okay, we can count the whole time below here as different peaks and stuff like that and say, oh, it's been lower any more times. But really, I'm looking at the areas here. So this area, and this area. Right here, we see the MACD, the RSI coming down and being at a very, very low level. Can it go lower? Yes, of course it can. It's not even below 50 yet. We've seen these previous bear market bottoms, by the way, bear market bottoms being marked by a monthly RSI reading under 50. So this is a pretty low reading right now. It could mark a low or bottom point for the market, but historically we have seen the bottoms come in for bear markets, and of course the COVID sell-off, under 50. Now again, we have to ask ourselves the question, is this the start of a multi-year bear market like we saw in 2014 and 2018? 2022, maybe the 4-year cycle theorists were the right ones and us lengthening cycle guys were wrong. Very possible, obviously. If that's the case, well, we're going to see that RSI going even lower, getting back down here under the 50 zone, and actually then just the COVID crash is the simple anomaly in this entire equation. That being said, we are still looking at what I believe is a scenario where actually it's the Fed stuff and the war stuff that is going to be an anomalous event here for the market, and we may recover much quicker than we saw with these lengthy bear markets back in 2014 and 2018. Next up, let's talk about support. So if the market is looking shaky, and again, we're just taking the bear case here today because the markets are looking rough, the charts. Obviously, if you go and start sorting through the chart, then you can find lots of bullish charts as well. Can find your bias in either direction. We're simply discussing some of the bearish scenarios today and the bearish charts that you should be keeping an eye on as an investor, because if you're not looking at their side ever, well, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, key support for Bitcoin, we find it at $33,000 here. That, of course, was the yearly low for Bitcoin a few weeks ago. And of course, we find it down here around $29,000, which obviously was the bottom for the 2021 sell-off, plus a key area of price support back in earlier 2021 as well, after the first big run-up and a big coming down to retest that area. Really want to see 33K hold. Now, if 33K does hold, in fact, right now, just so you understand, right now, all we have is a higher low. A higher low. That is the structure right now, maintaining some kind of a bullish bias. However, if we come back down here, well, that is not a higher low anymore, and we are actually starting to bring in new lower lows, which is of course, a bearish thing. So these are key areas for us to be watching. No guarantees we get down there, but it depends on, of course, how much fear gets ramped up in the market over the coming days. And speaking of fear, see, I told you one of these was just a graph and not a chart. Anyway, here it is, the fear and greed index back down to 23, which is not the lowest fear, obviously, that we can see in this market. We've seen fear readings a month ago of like 10. So fear has been much more extreme than it is right now. Sentiment online, very grim overall. The market just keeps beating people down psychologically, and it can be tough. I know I've lived through, horrific bear markets, massive crashes. Fun times every time. Crypto. It's fun. It's fun, guys. It's fun. But we are, again, in a serious state of fear for the market investors. Obviously concerned. Charts, plenty of charts that will show you that things are looking pretty rotten. Obviously, we can bring up plenty of charts that show us that things aren't so rotten either. But a lot of focus on the negative picture right now because of the macro scene, and the charts are reflecting that. Now, even though these charts, of course, are painting a tough picture right now, and fear is ruling the mind of investors, I just want to really be clear about something. Bitcoin and crypto, they're not going away. They're not going to just disappear. Bitcoin's not going to stop Bitcoining. NFTs and DeFi and all this stuff, it's not going to just disappear. Crypto gaming's not disappearing. All of this stuff is here to stay. Crypto has been and will continue to be the best performing asset class of this decade. Just not today. Just not today, guys. Now, the market sentiment, obviously, it can change so fast in this market, as you are very well aware. Obviously, everybody today is super mega bearish, but in a few weeks' time, the war fears can pass. The Fed can give us clarity on rate hikes. Stocks can start going back up. We get some bullish news about some company or something buying some Bitcoin. Everything can change around real fast. This is a bipolar market sentiment-wise. You know what I'm going to keep doing through all of this noise? I'm just going to keep stacking, playing the long game, because I know what I'm investing in. The fundamentals have literally never been better. Price at a certain point just becomes a distraction on the actual investment that you're making and what you're investing into. Anyway, just my 2 Satoshis for the day. You will let me know what you think about any of this down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.